What happened to Margaret's husband should serve as a wake-up call to every person over 70 who's been told that walking more is the key to healthy aging. Margaret found him collapsed on the kitchen floor after his evening walk, the same routine he'd followed religiously for months. The paramedics said it was exhaustion, but I knew better. His body had been breaking down from the inside, aged prematurely by the very activity he thought was keeping him young. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, a geriatrician and longevity specialist with over 25 years of experience working with adults over 70. I've seen this tragic pattern repeat itself countless times in my practice, well-meaning seniors who've been told that more walking equals better health, only to discover that their bodies are actually aging faster, their joints deteriorating, and their energy depleting with each step they take beyond their body's natural capacity. Here's what the fitness industry doesn't want you to know. After age 70, your body operates under completely different rules than it did in your 40s or 50s. The recovery mechanisms that once repaired your muscles and joints after exercise begin to slow dramatically. Your hormone production changes. Your cardiovascular system requires different types of stimulation. And most critically, excessive walking can trigger inflammatory responses that accelerate the aging process rather than slow it down. Today, I'm going to share with you the 4 dangerous ways that too much walking after 70 can actually speed up your aging process. And more importantly, I'll reveal the simple movement protocol that my patients use instead to maintain their strength, balance, and vitality well into their 80s and beyond. If you've been struggling with joint pain, chronic fatigue, or feeling like your daily walks are becoming harder rather than easier, this message could change everything for you. Before we dive deeper, I want you to know that if this information resonates with you, type 1 in the comments below. If you're skeptical, type 0. Either way, your feedback helps me understand what my viewers need most, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the health advice I share is specifically designed for adults over 70, and it's information you won't hear from your typical doctor's visit. Let me start with the first and most overlooked danger of excessive walking after 70. It's something that happens silently, deep within your muscles and joints, and by the time you feel the effects, significant damage may already be done. The first danger is chronic inflammation and joint deterioration. Last month, I had a patient named Robert, a 73-year-old retired teacher who came to my office limping and clearly in pain. He told me he'd been walking 10,000 steps every day for the past year because his daughter had bought him a fitness tracker and he wanted to make her proud. But instead of feeling stronger, he felt like his knees were on fire, his hips ached constantly, and he was taking longer to recover from his walks each day. What Robert didn't understand, and what most people over 70 don't realize, is that their bodies no longer produce the same anti-inflammatory compounds they once did. When you're younger, exercise creates temporary inflammation that your body quickly repairs, making you stronger. But after 70, this repair process becomes sluggish and incomplete. Each excessive walking session creates microdamage in your joints, cartilage, and surrounding tissues that doesn't fully heal before the next walking session adds more damage. This creates what I call the inflammation cascade. Your body becomes trapped in a cycle of chronic low-level inflammation that not only affects your joints, but actually accelerates aging throughout your entire system. Chronic inflammation has been linked to everything from cognitive decline to cardiovascular disease to weakened immune function. So when you're pushing through pain or fatigue during your walks, thinking you're being disciplined and healthy, you're actually triggering biological processes that make you age faster. The cartilage in your knees and hips is particularly vulnerable. Unlike other tissues in your body, cartilage has very limited ability to repair itself especially as you age. When you walk excessively on hard surfaces like concrete sidewalks or asphalt, the repetitive impact creates tiny fractures in this cartilage that accumulate over time. Eventually, this leads to osteoarthritis, chronic pain, and the kind of mobility issues that can rob you of your independence. Didn't account for their age-related physiological changes. Robert was heading down this same path until we completely changed his approach to movement. Instead of long walks, we implemented short, gentle movement sessions that I'll describe later in this video. But joint damage is just the beginning. The second danger of excessive walking after 70 affects something even more fundamental to your health and longevity, your cardiovascular system. The second danger is cardiovascular strain and heart rhythm disruption. 3 months ago, I received an emergency call about one of my patients, Helen, a 76-year-old grandmother who had collapsed during her morning walk. She had been following a walking program that promised to strengthen her heart, but when the ambulance arrived, her heart was beating irregularly and her blood pressure was dangerously elevated. What many people don't understand is that the cardiovascular system of a 70-year-old is fundamentally different from that of a younger person. Your heart muscle becomes less elastic with age. Your blood vessels become stiffer. Your body's ability to regulate blood pressure during exercise becomes less efficient. When you push this aging cardiovascular system with prolonged walking sessions, especially in hot weather or on challenging terrain, you're not strengthening it, you're straining it. The heart of someone over 70 requires a different type of exercise stimulus. Long, steady-state activities like extended walking can actually stress the heart in ways that promote irregular rhythms, especially if you have any underlying cardiovascular conditions that haven't been diagnosed yet. Many of my patients have discovered they had heart rhythm abnormalities only after they started experiencing symptoms during their walking routines. There's also the issue of blood pressure variability. During extended walks, your blood pressure rises and falls in patterns that can be particularly dangerous for older adults. If you're taking blood pressure medications, which many people over 70 are, the combination of medication effects and exercise-induced blood pressure changes can create potentially dangerous situations. I've seen patients become dizzy, disoriented, or even lose consciousness during walks that they thought were perfectly safe. Helen's story had a happy ending because we caught the problem early and adjusted her movement routine. But she's not alone. Emergency rooms across the country see older adults every day who've experienced cardiovascular events during what they thought was healthy exercise. The tragedy is that these incidents are often preventable with the right approach to movement after 70. Your heart needs movement, but it needs the right kind of movement. The protocol I recommend to my patients actually strengthens the cardiovascular system more effectively than long walks with a fraction of the risk. We'll discuss this in detail shortly, but first, let me share with you the third danger of excessive walking, one that affects your body's ability to maintain muscle mass and bone density. The third danger is muscle wasting and bone density loss. Last week, I saw Patricia, a 74-year-old woman who had been walking religiously for 2 years. She came to me confused and frustrated because despite all her walking, she was getting weaker. She struggled to lift her groceries, had difficulty getting up from chairs, and had recently fallen in her bathroom. Her bone density test showed significant loss, and her muscle mass measurements were concerning. Patricia's experience illustrates a crucial point that the fitness industry often ignores. Walking is primarily a cardiovascular activity. While it does use your leg muscles, it doesn't provide the type of resistance stimulus that your muscles and bones need to maintain their strength and density after age 70. In fact, excessive walking can actually contribute to muscle wasting through a process slow it down. Your bones face a similar challenge? While walking does provide some weight-bearing stimulus, it's not enough to maintain bone density as you age. Your bones need variable, multidirectional forces to stay strong. The repetitive single-plane motion of walking doesn't provide this stimulus. In fact, if walking is your only form of exercise, you may be missing out on the types of movement that would actually strengthen your bones and prevent fractures. The hormone changes that occur after 70 make this situation even more complicated. Your body produces less growth hormone, less testosterone or estrogen, and other hormones that help maintain muscle and bone tissue. Extended walking sessions can actually suppress some of these beneficial hormones, while the right type of movement can help optimize them. Patricia's transformation was remarkable once we shifted her focus from long walks to the movement protocol I'll share with you. Within 3 months, her strength improved dramatically, her balance became more stable, and her follow-up bone density test showed improvement for the first time in years. The key was understanding that her body needed challenge, not just movement. But perhaps the most insidious danger of excessive walking after 70 is the one that affects your brain and cognitive function. This fourth danger is often the most overlooked, yet it may be the most important for maintaining your independence and quality of life. The fourth danger is cognitive decline and brain fog. 2 months ago, I had a consultation with James, a 78-year-old former engineer who was experiencing memory problems and difficulty concentrating. His family was worried about early dementia, but when I reviewed his routine, I discovered something interesting. He had been walking for 2 to 3 hours every day, often in hot weather, and he was experiencing what he described as mental fatigue that lasted long after his walks ended. What James and his family didn't realize is that excessive physical stress, including too much walking, can actually impair cognitive function in older adults. When your body is constantly in a state of physical stress from overexercise, it produces elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Chronic cortisol elevation is toxic to brain cells, particularly in the hippocampus, the area responsible for memory formation and recall. The brain of someone over 70 is also more vulnerable to the effects of dehydration and electrolyte imbalances that can occur during extended walking sessions. Even mild dehydration can cause confusion, difficulty concentrating, and memory problems that can last for hours or even days after exercise. When this happens repeatedly, it can contribute to a pattern of cognitive decline that mimics early dementia. There's also the issue of blood flow distribution during extended exercise. When you walk for long periods, blood flow is redirected away from your brain to your working muscles. In younger people, this redistribution is temporary and well tolerated. But in older adults, especially those with any degree of cardiovascular compromise, this can lead to insufficient oxygen delivery to the brain during and after exercise. The fatigue that many older adults experience after long walks isn't just physical, it's neurological. Your brain literally becomes exhausted from the stress of prolonged exercise, and this exhaustion can manifest as confusion, irritability, difficulty making decisions, and memory problems. When this happens regularly, it can create a pattern of cognitive decline that's completely preventable. James's cognitive symptoms improved dramatically when we reduced his walking duration and replaced his long walks with the targeted movement protocol I recommend. Within 6 weeks, his memory improved, his mental clarity returned, and his family's concerns about dementia disappeared. The change was so significant that his family doctor asked me to explain what we had done differently. Now that you understand the 4 dangers of excessive walking after 70, you might be wondering what you should do instead. The solution isn't to stop moving. Movement is crucial for healthy aging. The solution is to move in a way that works with your body's changing needs, rather than against them. The protocol I recommend to my patients is based on 3 principles: efficiency, recovery, and progression. Instead of long walks, we focus on short, targeted movement sessions that provide maximum benefit with minimal stress. Instead of daily exercise, we incorporate proper recovery periods that allow your body to adapt and strengthen. And instead of static routines, we use progressive challenges that keep your body responding positively to movement. The foundation of this protocol is what I call interval walking. Instead of walking for 30 to 60 minutes continuously, you walk for 3 to 5 minutes at a comfortable pace, then rest for 1 to 2 minutes, then repeat this cycle 3 to 5 times. This approach provides cardiovascular benefits without the stress of prolonged exercise. It allows your heart rate to return to baseline between intervals, preventing the cardiovascular strain that can occur with continuous walking. We also incorporate functional strength movements that can be done at home with minimal equipment. These movements target the muscles you use for daily activities like getting up from chairs, climbing stairs, and carrying groceries. Unlike traditional gym exercises, these movements are designed specifically for the needs and limitations of adults over 70. Balance training is another crucial component. Instead of relying on walking to maintain balance, we use specific exercises that challenge your balance system in safe, controlled ways. This approach is far more effective at preventing falls than walking alone, and it can be done in the safety of your home. The recovery component is equally important. Your body needs time to repair and adapt after each movement session. We schedule rest days and use gentle activities like stretching or breathing exercises to promote recovery without adding stress. So here's the reality. These targeted movements I've shown you aren't just suggestions. They're your lifeline after 70. The difference between aging gracefully and aging dangerously. Every step you take beyond your body's recovery capacity is a step toward chronic inflammation, weakened bones, and cognitive decline. But when you embrace this smarter approach, when you choose efficiency over exhaustion, you're choosing vitality over deterioration. Your joints will thank you. Your heart will strengthen responsibly. Your muscles will build without breaking down. Most importantly, your mind will stay sharp because you're working with your body, not against it. This isn't about giving up movement. It's about respecting what your body needs now.